Previously on Sisterwives.
The other wives are asked what their opinion was on Meri's divorce. Christine is convinced Robyn was being manipulative even that early on. Robyn planted that seed in Meri's and Kody's minds.
It's okay, Mare Bear. Legal marriages aren't what's important. It's the spiritual sealings that really count. Ixnay on the Inyatape.
Let's burn our marriage certificates. What?
And then make love.
Air. Earth. Fire. Loyalty.
Long ago, the four wives lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Phoenix wife demanded more. Only the patriarch, husband to all four elements, could play fair. But when the OG wives needed him most, he vanished. 18 seasons passed, and we have discovered the new star, an airbender named Christine. And although her cooking spinoff is just okay, she has a lot to live up to before she's ready to save anything. But I believe Christine can save this show.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Angie, this is my husband Tim, and today we are recapping from literally any other reality TV show that is slightly better than the one we're watching.
Any one of them would count, yeah.
The show is going downhill so fast. So just to preface this episode, you can tell even the people over at Max stopped giving a about this show because when they first uploaded this particular episode to the platform, they named it wrong. It was called Sisterwives Season 12, and the description was, the Browns share an intimate look at their unconventional family. They later fixed it to the correct title, but you can tell even the staff doesn't care about this new episode.
Why 12? That's not in any way right.
It's just a random season.
That's ridiculous. People are paid to do this. This is their jobs.
They probably had an intern in charge of this, similar to when Amazon Prime uploaded an episode a week early than it was supposed to. So let's jump right in. Sister Wives Season 19, Episode 17. Love is patient, love is kind. This title was obviously geared towards us, the viewers.
Oh, yeah?
Because we have the patience of a saint due to this lazy show giving us scraps week after week.
Calling this show a show is kind.
Yes. We start off in Flagstaff. We actually begin in Moab, but I want to end on a high note with the end of Christine's wedding journey, so we're starting with Kody and Robyn.
Sorry, I was thinking that the high point of this episode is certainly the tree for me. So it's like eating your favorite part of the meal first for me.
Oh, I thought it was a high point because the wedding parties are finally over.
They're going to have a post-wedding party, I bet. At least one.
Oh, of course. I think Christine and David's honeymoon was delayed, so we probably won't get that yet until season 20.
Oh man, I was making a joke when I said a post-wedding party, but yeah, I guess that counts.
Anyways, as we know, Kody was playing lumberjack during Christine's wedding. His project today is to cut down one of the trees that is obstructing his house's view of the mountain. That mountain where he heard the angels sing. Robyn asks Kody something alarming. She questions him if he could do that task, cutting up a tree and removing it entirely within the span of 6 months. I was thinking to myself, is it normal for it to take half a year to cut a tree and clean the remnants up?
I mean, I get it. It makes sense to me.
Why?
It's like when you have a task that the beginning is a lot of fun, but then it totally blows for the rest of it.
Oh, so he doesn't want to haul the log into a chipper, dispose of it?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you do the laundry and you put it in the washer and the dryer and everything, and you pull it out, and then you just let it sit in the hamper instead of folding it, because that's the part that sucks the most.
That makes sense. But that is very representative of Kody, where he gets excited about a project, and then however many years or months into it, he has given up because it's not fun anymore.
I mean, let's make a list here. Coyote Pass, his entire family.
Oh my gosh. Well, he was gung-ho about that for 30 years.
The prospect of raising a child. He's very, very into it at the very beginning.
Yes.
And then it peters off over time.
He's only into parenting when they're under 10.
Yes. He's a starter, not a finisher.
Kody is really good at the starting part of an idea. Puts so much energy into that sometimes he starts getting a little bit exhausted towards the end of it.
The execution, though, is sometimes a little bit where he gets lost.
I can be a finisher, yes, I do finish, but there's a lot of projects I start, and there's just never the time to finish it out.
But my second thought was he has to space out his little projects in order for TLC to film him doing things.
He has on his calendar dates that he knows TLC is showing up, and he just saves all of the things for then and just lays around for the rest of the time.
I think that's also the same with Meri, where she sets aside a Kody and her piece of memorabilia from their marriage, and then she waits for the crew to arrive to watch her destroy it with a couple of friends watching her.
Yeah, that sounds exactly right.
Kody promises his shy, pretty wife that he won't procrastinate this. He doesn't want the felled tree to sit there all winter. She demands a pinky promise from him. She says, "Take your gloves off."
Take your gloves off. Oh, that's a power move.
He is hesitant to do that. In his confessional, Kody says that since he's a monogamist now, his last remaining wife is the one who gets to make the rules. Which I was under the impression Robyn always had rules even when Kody had multiple wives, but whatever.
The show really isn't very honest or clear about how their relationships ever worked, so we can just guess, but that seems to be the short of it, yeah.
Kody seems to be in good spirits about the fact Robyn gets to tell him what to do, and that's his attitude throughout the entire episode.
He's almost as positive about everything as Christine. And he's not even getting married.
We'll save that towards the end. Kody takes a ladder to the tree and proceeds to wrap a chain around it. Robyn is apprehensive as to whether or not he would hurt himself. Throughout Kody's endeavor, you said that Robyn was annoying the shit out of you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she kept going, "Kody, Kody." And I was thinking to myself, woman, do not distract a man with a very dangerous power tool. He is trying to concentrate.
I don't know what she is bringing to the table in this situation. Cody's gonna wrap a chain around a tree, and she's like, well, can't that hit you? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but I could hit myself with a rake, but I'm not gonna. Why is she here? Is she here just so that they can film her yelling, "Kody, Kody"?
Well, yeah, she has to work her TV show paycheck. So she is here pretending to direct him.
I'm thinking if you had to perform surgery and you were in the woods and you had to put somebody's broken leg back into place, you were focused on it, and then the wife of the individual is like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no," I'd be thinking to myself, someone take her away, because she's complicating this situation.
So yes, Tim felt sympathy for Kody in this segment. Robyn commends her husband, saying that he usually tackles situations with intelligence but ends up acting very wildly.
Accurate.
She compares him to Babe Ruth in that his exploits are either a hit or a miss.
Baseball reference from Robyn. That was unexpected.
Well, Kody uses baseball references too when he teaches his kids.
Do you want to practice on Souls instead?
No, I don't want to do this.
There's no crying in baseball, sweetheart.
This isn't baseball.
This is bike riding. It's easier than baseball.
She's never seen A League of Their Own, so she wouldn't get it.
Robyn declares one of Cody's misses. One time, he did drop a tree on their house. Their roof was unmistakably damaged, which ended up costing them. Well, at least it wasn't his truck.
There's nothing as manly as imposing your will on a tall, girthy tree. Damn it! You win this time! Tree!
I know I already showed that in the wedding special, but since Puddle Monkey is more than happy to repeat footage, I am more than happy to repeat skits.
I'm shocked that Robyn told us that this happened, because up until now, she's kind of whitewashed everything about Kody, which leads me to believe that their relationship has changed in some kind of way, because...
Whitewash as in she purposefully obfuscates mistakes that he's done?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if she's done that in the past before. I have to do a rewatch.
She'll occasionally do that. She'll just lie about something to protect either the family or Kody, but in this situation, it's telling that she's more willing to put those out into the public, which, that's fun.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the tree falling on their house, so I want them to do that again. Get a stunt tree so that we can watch it fall and have something interesting to see.
Oh, that would be the best episode of the season. Just crash.
Anyways, Kody says he is not a physicist, so don't expect him to drop a tree correctly 100% of the time.
He's not a physicist, but he is an amateur lumberjack. So I expect it to be around 90 to 95% of the time.
Yeah, he says that he has cut at least 1,000 trees, which tracks because if you remember in the book, Janelle does say that one of Kody's past jobs was a logger.
Just before one of those trips, when I was being left behind once more, my pregnancy hormones were making me feel especially vulnerable. Kody had taken a new job logging on a mountain, and I was upset to learn that he was again taking Meri with him.
Oh, never mind, not amateur. He is a former professional lumberjack.
Those skills must have rusted a little bit. Unfortunately, the tree doesn't fall to the ground. It ends up leaning onto another one.
You say unfortunately. I say fortunately because it was the only interesting thing that happened in this episode.
Cody becomes upset because now he has to do even more work. We spend the next few minutes watching him cut chunks out of the semi-fallen tree. And when he was doing that, he had an axe. And then there was the chainsaw that was pinched in the wood. And he was using wedges to cut the rest of the way through the tree. And I was thinking to myself, the chainsaw was still running.
It sure was.
Why didn't he turn that off? Because when the tree finally did fall, the chainsaw just spun around and it was on. That could hurt someone.
Oh, yes, it could. It's one of those situations where I feel like I would have made the same stupid mistake, and then Angie would be, why didn't you turn off the chainsaw? And I would have said something like, because I was being an idiot. Anyway, best part of the episode.
Robyn just thanks God that no one got hurt.
Also, we got to see Kody get so mad that he threw his helmet on the ground, which is great because personally, and I think this is true for everybody who watches this show, we wanted to see Kody get really angry and sad and miserable about the wives leaving. But generally speaking, he's got the biggest smile on his face throughout this entire episode. Except for here, he gets really mad. So I had to cherish that.
When the tree finally fell to the ground, I think he was pretty happy he threw the axe onto the pile.
Oh, I think he did that because he was angry at the tree.
Oh, he was like, this is for being a stupid tree.
Yes, that was not a joyful throw. Also, don't throw your stuff like that. It could hit a rock and break the blade, and then you got to get a new one.
He had what seemed to be 3
chainsaws?
Yeah.
I don't know the difference of them. I'm not going to pretend to understand that. But...
Kody would probably know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the two take a break and are asked to talk about the family. Robyn says Kody is still struggling with the aftermath of everyone leaving, but he still seems in a relatively good space than he was in previous episodes.
Could be an act, but maybe not.
Kody seems to have accepted the situation. He goes, there's a lot of water under the bridge, and it wasn't all bad. He deems that most of his polygamous life was a positive, which is why it feels tough looking back on it. He repeats that his monogamous life with Robyn and their 5 is pleasant and beautiful, but it feels so much smaller than what he's used to. He admits that he needs a ton of attention, so it feels almost alien to not constantly be racked by tension. He maintains that his door will always be open to his 18 kids, but they have to meet him halfway. He will not sever ties with Robyn in order to have a relationship with his kids. This is something he said during McKelty's baby shower.
And Robyn and I are going to be like this. You're not going to separate us. They want their dad, but they don't want Robyn. That's not going to work. Robyn and I are going to be like this, and we're going to work this out. And that's just the relationship we're going to be in. I will not cut off Robyn to have a relationship with my children.
Which is fine. Don't cut off Robyn, Kody. I don't think any of his children are asking him to do that.
I know there's a lot of animosity towards Robyn in the family, when it should be directed almost entirely at Kody. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the kids are very angry at Robyn instead of their father for whatever reason. They've got pleasant memories of Kody, but Robyn is this new force that stole their dad away or something like that.
Because some people say that what the kids want from their dad concerning Robyn is to have her stop meddling in their relationships. But I remember in Janelle's part of the book, she sort of praised Robyn for being that medium.
The most important thing Robyn has taught us is how to argue in a more effective and polite manner. With such a chaotic household, there are going to be a lot of family discussions. Sometimes these can become heated and they blow up. Before Robyn came into the family, our arguments would often end unresolved with raised voices and slammed doors. Frequently, we were all worse off after a family discussion than before. So from time to time, it seemed worthless to discuss anything at all. Early on in their relationship, Robyn and Kody got into an argument. However, through example, Robyn showed him how to take the time to talk a problem out and not walk away from it before a comfortable resolution has been reached. These days, it is often Robyn who takes the lead in our family discussions. She keeps a cool head and navigates us through difficult waters. She never lets us leave the room until we've settled an issue. Thanks to Robyn, we are able to avoid bruised feelings and the long periods of unhappiness that used to follow our family talks. Robyn possesses an amazing amount of emotional maturity. One of the things that she has helped within our family is pointing out areas in which all of the marriages need solidifying. She has helped Kody realize where he may be inadvertently shortchanging one of his other relationships. This, in turn, has given Kody the tools to explain to me that we need to demonstrate more warmth and affection in our marriage.
It did seem as if that was a positive, and I guess it's not anymore.
She always, like, oh, it's always this Robyn speaks Kody. I'm like, well, I don't know if I really need someone to translate for me. We've been married a long time. We did okay without you.
I don't know. Nothing is ever as clean or
Cut and dry.
Or cut and dry as the people on the show say. I'd like to believe that everything's Kody's fault and that the kids are all just disillusioned, but I know that it's weird and awkward every which way. Also, there are plenty of parents that have 1 or 2 kids that are estranged from their children. He's got 18, so that's like a whole bunch of mental baggage. I don't know.
For, let's say, a normal family, maybe you have 3, 5 kids. Okay, one of them is estranged, but I think almost all of Kody's bio kids are estranged from him.
I mean, he is an asshole.
So in a way, that's kind of like 100% because those were
his biological
kids. The only reason he has a good relationship with Robyn's 5 is because they live with him.
Yeah, maybe. What I'm saying is that the average family structure is a lot less complicated. You don't have other bonus mothers involved. That complicates things. Also, there are so many kids. A lot of kids might be upset about things he did to other kids. Having that many people as a group makes everything so much more complicated.
Because in this segment, he says, oh, I will be there to have the door open and I will take in any kid that wants my love or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you recall, didn't Garrison invite him over to his house to make peace? And Garrison said his dad didn't want to do that. He wanted his kids to come to his house.
Which is a jack move.
Which I guess the open door Kody is talking about is from his realm of comfort.
His own front door.
Absolutely. I have a house. They can come to my house. I got real loyalty here at my home. You guys can come over here.
Every time I think I can give Kody a break, you're right. He's at Jack.
And also, he is the parent. His kids are hurting. I think Maddie's biggest problem with him was that he is inconsistent and he doesn't show up.
We can make guesses as to what exactly that means because it's not specific. I don't know. He's lazy. He doesn't want to leave his house or whatever. He wants to spend all of his days cutting down trees but not cutting them up afterwards.
Yes, he is a starter. Anyways, the film crew heads up to Parowan. Some ominous organ music plays to indicate that it is indeed spooky season at Lizzie's. Meri mentions that her ancestor's birthday was on Halloween, making it a must-celebrate holiday at the inn. This year, she is fully decorating its exterior. She says that her old church didn't really celebrate Halloween since it was the devil's holiday. She might just be referring to her own upbringing because mainstream Mormons celebrate Halloween.
Yes.
I was led to believe, based on that season 2 episode, that the AUB also celebrated Halloween because we saw the Browns carving pumpkins and the younger kids went trick-or-treating. But okay, Meri's family didn't like it.
Tim's note, that is my favorite episode of Sisterwives.
What, when they were doing the Halloween stuff?
Yeah. That is my ideal episode of Sisterwives. It talks about their real problems, the fact that they had no money, how they would try to do things with their family to celebrate the holidays, even though they are struggling because, again, they have no money. It was about a family getting along and everybody seemed happy. That's my ideal episode, and it's all downhill since then.
I remember, was it 2012? I used to play the game Harvest Moon on the Wii, and there was a time when I would just play it for hours and hours, and I would just rerun the first 2 seasons of Sisterwives on Netflix. I don't know why that was my go-to background noise.
It's noise, that's for sure.
And I liked watching the Halloween stuff, the Christmas stuff. Now it's just a real snooze.
Yep. Well, I think that's because the show is no longer following its own premise. The premise was polygamist family. Now it's just a bunch of monogamists that really don't talk about their polygamous family.
The initial premise that made the show interesting isn't quite there anymore.
No. If you took this footage to a TV show producer and said, do we got a show on our hands? They would look at you and say, we sure do. Get this guy out of my office.
This guy is crazy. This is junk.
Yeah, this current season would not be greenlit if it wasn't for the fact that it's a 19th season.
Back to Meri. She does like Halloween. And as we know, she is very sentimental and holds onto all of her family's keepsakes. We learn that one of these keepsakes is the large floral arrangement used in their recommitment ceremony.
Where the hell was she storing this thing for 10 years?
Probably in the dozens and dozens of totes she has, which, again, she stores in her big houses.
Oh my goodness. She needs help. That's not healthy.
Yeah, I was thinking if this was any other person, I would have wondered why they didn't chuck that in the trash yet. Mm-hmm. But this is Meri, so we'll go with it.
It's disconcerting.
Blair suggests repurposing the flowers to frame the headstones. He thinks it rather fitting considering how dead in the water that family mission statement ended up being.
And they all laughed.
But Meri still agrees with him.
Yes, Jen laughed so loud that it was distracting.
Yes, like, chill girl, that wasn't that funny.
It was expel air throughout your nose funny, but she was cracking up.
Meri, Jen, and Blair unpack some more decor. Meri says she hasn't decorated her house for major holidays since the Vegas years. This is largely because no one would have seen the fruits of her labor when she was in Flagstaff. I think this is a criticism towards the other parents who never visited her house with their children.
But we know that early on when they were in Lehigh, they weren't allowed to visit her house unless they were all gathering there for a family meeting.
I think Meri didn't want the other kids in her house when she wasn't present. She didn't want to use her apartment as a hallway.
Well, then maybe she should have been in the basement.
Yeah, but the basement has more rooms, and her apartment was the smallest one.
That actually tracks.
Because obviously Kody bought this house from a polygamist construction man. If he was the construction guy, he would have made the blueprint for the Lehigh house a bit different. So probably Janelle, Christine's part is big, but it's on the ground level, and Meri was in the basement.
Sorry, I'm just thinking basement wife.
That way, there's no blockage in the middle. Speaking of the Lehigh house, Christine and Janelle confirm how much Meri loved to decorate. Janelle brings up Meri's Americana craft room as an example of how much her former sister wife loved to have themes in her house. Robyn blames not going to Meri's house on COVID. She singles out the, quote, older kids and their moms as the reason why the get-togethers didn't happen. Which, if I recall, the Browns were able to have at least one Christmas during COVID altogether, and that was because everyone did quarantine for 2 weeks.
If I ever hear them bring up COVID again, it'll be too soon.
Robyn needs to get it through her head that COVID wasn't what ended their family. It was already falling apart. There are examples of Robyn trying to persuade Meri to not have Janelle and her children over for Christmas Eve.
I don't know what to do. I don't know, do I call them and have them come over when you guys are all at odds?
That sounds
Is that
scary. If I could have my Christmas wish, Kody and the boys would get this figured out and we could have Christmas together. Do I think it's going to work for them to get together on Christmas Eve without talking? No, I think there's going to be a fight, and that's what I think is scary. I'm trying to figure out, could you be around everybody and, because last year you were struggling with that. You were struggling because of what just happened with the boys.
No, I'd rather just be around people who really want to be around me.
It could get ugly if
it could get ugly.
Came.
So are you going to invite everybody?
Probably not.
To be fair to Robyn, though, in that clip, Meri also agreed that Janelle's part of the family shouldn't be invited. I don't know if Meri was saying that to be compliant to what Robyn and Kody already wanted.
Yeah, I think that's possible. Meri was in prime suck-up mode at this point.
And in that same conversation, Robyn also suggested that Kody called Janelle and he didn't want to do that. So it's still up in the air whether or not Robyn was genuine in wanting the big familial traditions.
I think she did. She was angry that nobody was putting their entire lives on hold just so that they could come to her big things or something. It's super unclear with COVID what anybody actually wanted.
Because again, the blow up over the Christmas exchange was first, could they jump in on a Zoom call but still be in different time zones? And the kids couldn't, and Robyn got offended by that. And then the second time it was brought up, the main problem was the kids wanted to have the gift exchange in person, and Robyn had issues with that.
Yeah, I think that's about right. But I think that Robyn wanted to be as a family, but she didn't want to be a family in person because she didn't trust some of the kids who were blatantly disregarding COVID restrictions.
Post-editing Angie here. Before I get any comments on this, at least one brown child has come out and said they didn't follow COVID guidelines. This was revealed in Surviving Sister Wives' interview with Peyton.
When you had to follow those rules for quarantine to be able to participate in Christmas, at the time, did you think that those were Kody's rules, or did you think that they were Robyn's rules?
To make one thing very clear, I didn't follow the rules. I lied and said I followed them.
Interesting,
because we did hear, I believe it was Garrison, suggest that maybe they go that route in one of the episodes. So
Mom asked me, hey, before you come up here, I want you to test. I want you to test it and make sure. And I told Mom, I haven't been following the rules. I work, I hang out with friends, and it's important that I do so. Because if I don't hang out with friends for 2 weeks, I can't socialize or do anything for 2 weeks. I'm going to slip into some severe depression again, which is a bad place for me. So I told Mom, it's not happening. And she said, okay, are you coming anyway? And I said, yes, I'm coming anyway.
It seems like she wanted them in a Zoom call, but she didn't want them in person.
Ooh. I mean, that's totally possible. Maybe they were just annoyed that Robyn inserted herself.
That's possible.
Back to the inn. Something I noticed was that Bonnie's picture was up with the portraits of the rest of Meri's ancestors. I thought that was a sweet tribute. They continue decorating the inn. Meri says she is in a better headspace now than she was many years ago. She feels like she is her more authentic self, and this was only made possible because she is surrounded by positivity, her friends and people she is in alignment with. This was reminiscent of her housewarming party 2 episodes ago.
It's almost like it's the exact same thing without any character development.
Wait, what do you mean, character development?
We tell stories because we grow and we change. if an element of a story doesn't show that change or development in a person, we edit it out. So I'm saying that this is all redundant because these are all interactions we've seen before, symbolic of the personal growth that we've already seen symbols of before. So why are we seeing it?
I don't know. Word has it that Meri's brother, Janelle's ex, died on the same weekend that Christine's wedding was going on. I don't know why that wasn't at least mentioned.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
And this show is fake.
Okay. Only superficial stuff.
They have real things that they can talk about in this show. God knows they do. There's real things, but they keep showing us the fakest bullshit.
I mean, you can argue maybe his family didn't want him on camera, because we saw Janelle's ex in the spring break with the kids episode. They even showed his name, Adam.
They could have just, the same way they asked, hey, did you know that Christine is having a special up in Moab? They could have asked, how are you dealing with the passing of your brother? We didn't have to see anything.
I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaking the year.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. Don't quote me on anything.
No, we are not experts on anything and should not be cited in any sources for any Reddit fights or anything like that.
I have to go back to Meri's Instagram profile and verify the dates and stuff. The producers have to direct Meri to what she's missing out on. Christine's wedding is happening this weekend.
Okay.
Yes, Meri has that same reaction. She is not perturbed from the non-invitation. Christine has vocalized on the show that she wants no relationship with Meri.
Just everything had to be perfect. It was just very, very stressful. It was very stressful.
And this was Meri, right? Who wanted everything kind of that way.
Yes. That was the biggest thing is I never knew if she was mad or not mad. And the stress was so much. It was just took me over the edge and I'm like, I'm done with you. I'm done.
And Meri 100% respects Christine's wishes. Meri goes on to say that she met David once at, as we've seen, Gwen's engagement party, and she wishes her ex-sister wife all the best in her new life.
As long as that new life is away from her.
The three amigos finish up decorating the fake cemetery with the commitment ceremony flowers. Meri ends her segment by saying she is within her first year of divorce and she is finding her new life pretty liberating. She doesn't feel like something is missing because of Kody. She will continue doing these sorts of traditions in her own way with the people that enjoy her.
Exactly what she said last episode and the episode before that.
She also said more things like, Meri's come out to play. I don't know, that felt kind of weird.
It sounds like a horror movie. Meri's come out to play.
No, not in the scary Meri sense. It was because it reminded me of when Meri would post on her social media saying, my story is about to be told. And this was just before the season 18 one-on-ones where obviously Christine says, hey, I have a story about Meri. And she's like, no, you told the story.
I love it. I love it.
So, okay, Meri, you've come out to play. I hope you are more
entertaining next time.
Yes.
And so for the rest of the recap, we direct you to last year's recap of the wedding special.
Yes. So again, we're doing a recap of a recap episode.
Oh, I thought we could just cut to that episode. Edit in the old footage.
Oh no, I put effort into my YouTube videos unlike Puddle Monkey. So yes, we are going to Moab. I'm going to do the same thing I did last week. I'm just going to recap on new clips or information pertaining to the wedding. Anything repeated, I will gloss over. So, everyone is busy getting ready for Christine and David's ceremony. McKelty voices something strange. She and all her sisters were planning on wearing their hair plig style in order to symbolize their mother no longer being a third wife. The editors show a picture of FLDS women displaying that traditional singular French braid down their back.
That makes no sense.
Because why would you wear that polygamist hairstyle to symbolize that said person is not polygamous anymore?
Also, they were part of the AUB, not the FLDS, so they wouldn't have been dressing like that anyway.
Yeah, whatever. McKelty is just being attention-seeking again.
She is extra in the worst way.
Christine is super grateful to have Janelle and her part of the family celebrating with her. In the kitchen, Madison relays how much she loves David. In her interstitial, Madison reacts to how emotional she was. She is dealing with the joy of being part of David's family, but simultaneously mourning the absence of family members who couldn't celebrate with them. Hunter feels the same way. The producers then decide to ask Robyn her stance on missing out on this special event. Robyn didn't even know when it would happen. Kody had to tell her. He was at his sister's house, and Christine and David's wedding invite was there for him to read. For the second time, Robyn vocalizes that she and her part of the family were voted off the Brown family island. This exact kind of mistreatment is why she was not surprised why Kody, she, or her kiddos weren't invited. Which, Robyn, Christine said in the one-on-ones that at least your 3 eldest were invited, but they did not respond. You are making yourself look really foolish, trying to implicate that 1, you are entitled to an invitation when you are an ex, and 2, not taking ownership of the fact your children have probably cut off contact with Christine because of things you tell them. Because Robyn's kids were invited to several events in Flagstaff, but they chose not to go. So I think Robyn should stop putting this on her kids, that they really wanted to be at these gatherings, but they can't because the family hates them. I ask you your opinion of why do you think Robyn's kids don't go to gatherings?
Yes.
And you said it's a self-perpetuating cycle.
It's a conflict avoidance technique. They feel like everyone hates them, which causes them to self-isolate.
And it causes the OG kids to get annoyed by them.
Which they then interpret as them hating them, which causes them to self-isolate again, over and over again. It's a pretty vicious cycle, and it's not easily broken. And the worst part is it might not actually be based in anything anybody actually did. So it's possible that nobody actually has anything to apologize for, but they still feel like they've been done dirty. And so that means it's highly unlikely that the situation's going to get resolved unless somebody puts themselves in a pretty awkward situation. And even then, that's not a guarantee that they are going to come out of their shells.
I mean, I can relate to that feeling of conflict avoidance, and I isolate myself more and more, and I distance myself, and that's probably not the healthiest way for me to live.
No, and the worst part is that somebody can tell you that you're wrong, but it's not an evidence thing, it's a feelings thing. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's highly unlikely to change. And also from what we see with Robyn, and Robyn seems to be highly anxious. Her children probably are too, which might be the cause of the reason why they act like this.
Nevertheless, I am still sick of Robyn constantly playing the victim.
Yes, because that does convince the children, or the adult children of Robyn, that they
were wronged.
That they're victims too, which is not great.
Kody is also extremely peeved. He complains that all of his children are going to be at the wedding, which he must not have contacted Gwen recently because clearly she wasn't in attendance. Kody is most upset that all of the guests will be partaking in the Brown family mosh pit, something that he invented. This confused me because what is the Brown family mosh pit? Because from the wedding special and watching the recommitment ceremony, it looked like it was just a regular mosh pit, a dance circle.
Mm-hmm.
Kody, you did not invent that.
I think that he might have encouraged his kids to do that, and it created a precedent, a tradition type of thing, and they've decided to continue it without him.
But isn't that normal for people to dance around the perimeter and then have someone be in the center and stuff like that?
I mean, maybe. That was the cringy thing that people used to do in the young single...
adult dances?
The Mormon dances. They'd always do that cringe thing.
I like that. And then someone would do the worm.
And somebody would always do the worm. I was just thinking about that.
Kody continues rambling and says something very truthful. It's probably a good thing he wasn't invited, or else he would have been tempted to show up the groom. To which I will say, don't worry, Kody. David's friend Jared is out dancing the groom just fine. Because we'll see him do that during the lap dance segment.
Yes, it would have also been extremely easy to outdance David, because David threw his back out.
Mm-hmm.
So...
we'll get to that part.
Yes.
Because in the wedding special, I was wondering why was their first dance so stiff. And now we know. Because he was in a lot of pain. Kody is happy for Christine, but just hopes he becomes more comfortable being around her new beau.
I was going to say, that is very optimistic that Kody hopes to one day be on amicable terms with David.
Mm-hmm.
That seems very positive, but also delusional.
He flip-flops on his turning a new leaf sort of attitude, because as we saw in the preview, he tends to get his maniacal laugh in, which was kind of crazy.
I kind of find Kody a little bit sad and pathetic when he says these things about having relationships with David. I think it's because Kody doesn't have very many healthy relationships, male or female.
What? He wants to be David's friend?
Maybe.
Oh, well, we did hear him, was it last season, where he fantasized about David talking Christine or something?
Mm-hmm.
The experience I had was Machiavellian. If she's not, then she is in love, unless she's Machiavellian to get her way with her husband, which is going to be a very normal thing in any kind of marriage where you're doing kind of things. And years to come, if we all become friends, David might be pulling me aside and go, dude, this is nuts. Because he's complaining about his wife. And I'll say, dude, be loyal to your wife. Don't talk to me about it. Because guys normally like to complain about their wives to each other.
I'm just going to say, I don't think David's pulling you over and going to have that conversation. Just like you didn't pull over the other wives to have conversations about your...
talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was weird.
It is, and it's highly distressing. It's delusional.
Yeah, Kody seems to be, inconsistent. We head back to the wedding venue, specifically the men's cabin at the Red Cliffs Lodge. Tony asks David if they can start drinking. After all, the women have been pounding mimosas since 8 a.m. I don't think the men drink anything. The guys just prep for the wedding. There is a short scene where we see what looks to be Caleb trimming Peyton's facial hair. Mitch finishes the job with his own straight razor.
Why?
Again, cutting room footage. David was taken aback that Mitch carries that with him.
Yeah, it's a strange thing to be carrying around, I guess. Back in the battle days, that's what ruffians would do. They'd carry a straight razor with them, but okay.
Okay,
Why is this in the show?
People say that they had to put in a lot of filler because they had to remove a lot of footage that related to the plot line with Kody and his sons, which might be true.
I don't buy it. I think they always were planning on giving us nothing.
I don't think so, because if it wasn't for recent events, I think it would have been okay to show things as they were.
Well, what I mean is I don't think that they actually went out of the way to film more of Garrison. Maybe there was a little bit of Garrison, but I don't think it was a plot line.
I think it was.
You do?
Well, at least season 17 ended where he hopes to have the love of his children back, and I'm pretty sure that's how season 18 was.
But then why didn't we see any of that with the daughter children then?
I guess because they don't live in Flagstaff?
Oh, I guess they did live in Flagstaff. Okay, sure, okay.
I have no clue. Anyways, that's the consensus. I don't know the reason why there was so many repeated clips.
Mm-hmm.
It is now a few minutes until the wedding. Christine and her crew head to the John Wayne's room. She feels exhilarated, but also a sense of calm. This is her first legal marriage. She's grateful to not feel that same insecurity when she had sister wives, because when all's said and done, David's focus will only be on her.
Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
Meri inserts herself, saying that Christine should have developed that own security within herself. Meri confesses to acting like Christine during her early years of marriage, where she wanted all of Kody's love and attention, but she claims to have grown past that. This talking head reminded me of that season 4 clip where Meri was conversing with Christine.
But you know what matters more is the relationship that I have with him when he's around.
When he's around, I try and be happy. I try and be fine. Sometimes, I'm sorry, I cannot block that underlying current. So I just have to pretend that everything's okay.
No, you don't pretend that. But you make the best of it when you're together. And you figure out another way to work through your own issues without putting it all on him.
I went back to the courtship with Robyn.
And you still have
there.
issues with that.
I do.
You're not moving past that.
No.
Like, how many times do you do something for Isabel and she just comes back and gripes at you anyway? How frustrating is that to you?
Meri.
It's exactly how he feels. So sorry I'm throwing it at you, but
no, I can take it.
You're the only person you can change. Okay. You can't change anybody else. Don't bring up problems with them. Just have fun with each other.
Okay.
Just have fun with each
I
other.
won't bring up problems.
And be happy.
The security in your marriage really comes from you. I did think that it was
more about him and him making me feel secure and showing me all the love. But I didn't know in those early years that it really is about me.
It seems Meri still holds the perspective in that Kody is not responsible for his wife feeling insecure in their relationship. So Meri is as loyal as ever. Janelle, who we know is the emotionally self-sufficient wife, says that in polygamy she learned not to compare. Jealousy is the death in plural marriage. She found her own sense of confidence in establishing her own identity/role in the family, which we know in the early seasons, Janelle labeled herself as the logical, work outside the home mom/accountant of the family. That is a very distinct role that the other wives didn't claim in the early seasons. So I can see why Janelle didn't feel threatened living polygamy.
Yes, she was making herself indispensable, so she never felt she could be replaced.
Because when Robyn came into the family, the roles that Christine and Robyn have were a bit overlapping. They were both sort of stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
Well, Christine was the stay-at-home mom to the 13 kids, and Robyn wouldn't let her watch her kids, so she had help. But that would create, I guess...
conflict.
Yeah.
Competition.
David heads on down to the wedding arch. Peyton asks if he's feeling nervous. The 59-year-old says he's not. Weddings are easy when you are in love with that person.
I'm not sure what that means. Weddings are easy when you're in love with that person. They could still be stressful, even if you love that person.
Yeah, I guess he's listening to Christine, who said, "Oh, I was in a tizzy in my first marriage. Kody had a 1,000-yard stare the entire time or something. And that's because he didn't love me. But you do, David."
Yes. God, I'd hate to be David.
Why?
Because I would microwave a burrito, and Christine would say, "Oh, God, you do that so much better than Kody."
I don't want to get hated in the comments.
Never mind. I'd love to be David. That way I get a look at Christine's face every day.
Christine is feeling the same way in that she loves David. She isn't worried about a thing. Janelle compliments the beautiful environment surrounding the venue. And Janelle does say that the Colorado River is slow-moving, which in the last episode, they led us to believe that that was a fast-moving river.
Well, they had to say that so that the whole Avalon thing was actually totally serious and not at all bullshit.
The wedding procession commences. I'm skipping all of it.
Thank you.
If you want a detailed summary and review of the ceremony, go watch my season 18 episode 20 recap. I'll put the link here. Some scenes that were on the cutting room floor were more talking heads of Christine's daughters saying how magical that day felt for their mom. David says he has dated a lot, and when Christine came along, it was almost too good to be true. Christine feels the same way. She loves having a romantic and sweet partner for a change. It was during this part of the episode you said, "I have finally figured out who David sounds like. He reminds me of Forrest Gump." Like, "I'm so in love with you, Christine."
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, where he's... "Christine sure has brightened my life up. She makes me feel like a new man."
He's very monotone. It's a little distracting. The reception is next. Christine asks her hubby what is he most nervous about. It turns out David isn't looking forward to the dancing because, 1, he doesn't like the attention.
Oh, how wonderful.
And 2, his back is still sore from playing with his grandkids during the morning. That's why he's nervous of people watching him. Christine points out that their first dance went over smoothly, but David was in pain the entire time. Which, that sucks.
Yes.
Hopefully someone in the staff gave him some Tylenol.
When your back is out, everything is pain.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Just lying down flat on your back hurts. It happens occasionally.
Okay. Isabel says the dancing is always the main event at any of their gatherings. Peyton is happy to have gotten to know David better. The editors do insert Kody into this, saying he does have FOMO and is jealous of his children that get to party on the dance floor. Ugh, so sad.
He says he's sad, but he's still...
laughing.
Again, Kody is the happiest person in this episode, except for that part where he kept cutting down that tree.
Someone who is not happy is Robyn. She is pouting again. We see her iconic frown, but wishes Christine all the best. David eventually gets back in the mosh pit, still in pain. It doesn't take long for the guest to synchronize their hand movements with the newlyweds in the center. This flash mob dance was made possible by Christine's sister Meri, who orchestrated the entire thing. And I thought that's pretty nice of your sibling to do. That must have taken forever, contacting hundreds of people so your sister could have this special moment.
That's nice.
Giant polygamist families. I know David's not polygamous, but I guess his sisters were. I don't know if all of their children were invited too.
Who knows?
Janelle voices that she never in a million years could have imagined one of her sister wives getting married. The cake is then cut. Isabel voices that the way her mom acts with David is the complete opposite of what she saw with her dad. As we know, Christine is very affectionate with David, but was very reserved in her first marriage. Isabel says that the way her mom behaves now should have been the norm because that means her mom is more comfortable and happy.
I thought that was one of the rules that they set up, that there would be no PDA.
At least in front of the other sister wives. They said in front of the other women, but as Aspen has said in a previous episode, the most she saw of her parents being affectionate was a little dance in the kitchen, so that must have extended to the children as well.
Interesting.
We see the same clips of David's BFF Jared giving him a lap dance, followed by Christine giving him a lap dance.
We saw that. This is nothing new.
Isabel and Peyton wished they averted their eyes during that moment. Janelle is okay with the lap dance since it was an indication Christine is no longer inhibited by her former religion.
Good.
After watching that same clip, Christine does get a bit embarrassed. In her talking head, she blames her behavior on the alcohol.
I was just about to say it was probably the alcohol.
But David is quick to counter her, saying Christine wanted to do that herself.
I mean, yes, also true.
She eventually concurs to this point, saying there's nothing wrong in showing everyone how much she loves her husband.
Agreed.
After all, she had to bottle up those sorts of emotions for 30 years. She will never do that again.
Do you think it was unanimous between the wives that they should get rid of PDA, or was there one or two of the wives that were more adamant about getting rid of PDA? Because we know that Robyn wanted to bring it back, but everybody got mad about it.
Well, they vacillate on whether Robyn liked PDA. Again, in the Valentine's Day episode, they did vote of who wants to bring it back, and Robyn was in favor. But as we saw in the last season, Kody says Robyn is very cautious about showing that in front of my other wives, which made it seem she was one of the people that was coy about it.
It might be that she just didn't want to piss them off about it. Maybe if they were all cool with it, then she wouldn't hold back or whatever, but I don't know. I'm just wondering, because I don't think Janelle would have cared. Do you think it was mostly Meri and Christine that made that rule?
I think so, but then again, Meri was also sort of PDA in the book. Janelle did say Meri would sit on Kody's lap in the same armchair when they watched a movie.
Oh, I always just thought that was Meri trying to
be the first wife.
Yeah, to upset Janelle.
They must have came up with that rule later on.
Okay.
Back to the wedding. Aspen is happy to have gotten more family. I'm assuming she's referring to her now step-siblings and David. McKelty feels the same way, saying both sides of the fam get along very well together. Isabel feels she's been playing a game of catch-up with her parents for the past year due to perceiving the courtship and wedding prep as super fast. But she is now in an awesome place where she sees David as a father figure and an awesome guy in general. She can't imagine her life without him now. The episode ends with Christine's thoughts. She expresses that when she was in her Flagstaff house, she couldn't have imagined the events that would unfold to where she is today. Even back then, she knew she'd have to leave Kody, eventually, but everything was still nebulous. She hoped for many things, to still have the relationships of all her kids and Janelle. She also hoped to find someone who really loved her and wanted to be with her forever. For all of that to come true feels so surreal. This is the most complete feeling Christine's ever held in her whole life. End of episode.
We see Kody up cutting a tree. Meri and her employees decorate her lawn with Halloween paraphernalia. And would you believe it, Christine got married. How'd they keep that secret for a year?
When we were in the car, you said to me, try to picture Sister Wives as a normal reality television show. Let's say we're recapping Dancing with the Stars. What's happening right now would be the equivalent of watching re-edited footage of a previous episode, then listening to people on couches just talking about the old dances instead of watching new ones. If they aired an episode like that, the ratings would tank so bad. The network would lose all credibility, but this is what's happening to us with Sister Wives.
They've promised us a show about dancing, and we only get about 2 minutes of dancing every episode.
So, it seems that for the remaining episodes, they're going to drag out the Coyote Pass storyline. Will Kody be fair in giving Meri and Janelle their share of the equity? Which I'm bored of already. This season is, according to some other YouTubers, going to be 26 episodes long, which I don't understand how that is possible.
That's way too many episodes.
Yeah, for how little they got going on. And again, the consensus is they had to fill in things because certain footage was taken out. They should have either made the episodes shorter or made the episode count maybe just a dozen, not 26.
But this is a pattern. They've been getting steadily worse for at least the last 8 years.
Yeah, they lengthened the episode and increased the episode count because the network cares more about having as much ad revenue as possible instead of producing something worth watching. It's just gotten too boring. So I know I said I would recap until the one-on-ones, but I didn't realize that.
You thought that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I thought that was 2 weeks ago, and it just keeps going.
They say that Meri was in a Stockholm Syndrome situation with Kody, but it feels like the fans are in a Stockholm situation with this show.
What I want to do moving forward is I'm going to recap until episode 20. If it goes over that, I think I'm just going to do a Janelle thing of what she did with Kody and just fade away. Damn, this show is lazy and not really much I can extract out of it anymore.
I mean, it's been mined for everything that's in it. I'm sure it was a gold mine when they first found it, but there's nothing left in there. Maybe there's a little nugget every couple miles of digging, but it's just not worth it to dig it through anymore.
At this point, we're clamoring for a sentence per episode for a juicy detail. So I'll try to go until episode 20.
I think that's too generous already, but okay.
Because I do like that number 20. We still have the land plot line.
Which is going to be nothing.
Meri lawyering up.
Which is going to be nothing.
And I guess Kody and Robyn riding a horse.
Which is going to be less than nothing.
So, anyways, sorry for the long rant. Thank you for making it to the end. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Well, Cody's down to one wife, and he's feeling kind of blue. Lost 3 out of 4, didn't have a clue. Says it's all their fault, but we know the score. Ain't easy being Kody, no more wives at his door. Oh, Kody, Kody, what you get yourself into? 3 wives have left you, now you ain't got a clue. Pointing fingers everywhere, but it's clear to see life as a monogamist ain't your cup of tea.